We have updates regarding when Brayan Bello and Garrett Whitlock will be returning to this Red Sox team, and it could not have come at a better time because this Red Sox team desperately needs them. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and the good news with the Boston Red Sox so far this year is that they've been able to score 33 runs in 4 games. The problem with the Boston Red Sox this year is that in those same 4 games, the Boston Red Sox have given up 30 total runs. Most of those coming from the starting pitching staff. In fact, only one pitcher, Tanner Houck, on Sunday against the Baltimore Orioles has less than 5 earned runs in their first start of the 2023 season. The good news is, before we start panicking, is that reinforcements are coming. Brayan Bello and Garrett Whitlock are starting to make their return to this Red Sox rotation. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to talk about what those updates on Brayan Bello and Garrett Whitlock are, what it means for their return, and how important this is going to be for the Red Sox pitching staff, and not just on the starting rotation side of things. But before we get into that, I want to let you know that there is an update to this week's live stream. We are going to be streaming tonight, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time instead of our normal Wednesday schedule, because tomorrow's game is a day game. So just a heads up on that we are going to be live tonight watching the game together at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Anyways, thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start by updating you guys on where Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello are in their rehab process before we get into what their impact on this team may look like. For Garrett Whitlock, he had his first rehab start, and I'm going to put that in air quotes because it's not really battling back from anything. He's not really rehabbing, but that's what you technically call it when you're going through the minor league system before you get to the major leagues. Either way, he had his first rehab start for the Worcester Red Sox on Friday. He ended up going 4 innings. He allowed just 1 run on 6 hits. He was able to strike out 6 batters, and control wise he only walked 1 singular batter. Now this is getting me a little bit excited. Yes, obviously this is just the AAA, and there's a big difference between AAA hitting and major league hitting, but Garrett Whitlock did face one of the most difficult teams in AAA, the New York Mets AAA affiliate, because they have 2 of the best prospects in all of baseball on it, Brett Baty and Francisco Alvarez. So for him to be able to limit that damage is absolutely fantastic. His next rehab appearance for the Boston Red Sox is going to be this Thursday in Portland against whoever they're opening their season against. And this is fantastic news, because what this means is that Garrett Whitlock only has 1 more rehab start this Thursday until he can rejoin the Boston Red Sox. He did an interview last night on the live broadcast where he talked about how much better he is feeling, how he was talking to his wife, that he feels like he can walk naturally again. This is all really great news for Garrett Whitlock. The idea now is that he makes this start on Thursday, and then if everything goes according to plan, he's going to rejoin the team sometime in that Tampa Bay series next week. It looks like, based on just simply days off and rest period, that he will either get a start on the 10th or the 11th. So we'll kind of see how the Red Sox shake out this rotation for Garrett Whitlock in terms of how he starts the year. My opinion, it's going to be Cutter Crawford goes to the bullpen. Garrett Whitlock takes over his spot in the rotation, at least for now. I don't think it'll be his exact spot, because right now he's scheduled to come back and take over Chris Sale's spot, which 99% sure is not happening. So we're probably going to see Cutter Crawford move to the bullpen for Garrett Whitlock when he comes back again, either the 10th or the 11th for this Red Sox team. As for Brayan Bello, he was scheduled to make his first start with the Worcester Red Sox as well on Thursday in Buffalo, but because of inclement weather, he is headed down to Fort Myers to do a little inner squad rehab start on Thursday. So he's still going to get that start in. It's just not going to be as high of a level as it would have been if he was in AAA. Now the next step for Brayan Bello is that he is going to make 1 more start like Garrett Whitlock has, and then he is going to rejoin this Red Sox team as well. That would put Brayan Bello about a week behind Garrett Whitlock, which would have him coming back either the 16th or the 17th, somewhere in that Angels series at home in the later half of this month. It could also be at the beginning of this Minnesota Twins series as well. So good news is we are getting closer and closer to these guys being ready for the rotation. To me, this cannot come soon enough. Garrett Whitlock coming back is going to be fantastic for this rotation. Brayan Bello coming back into this rotation could be even better. The starting rotation for the Boston Red Sox for sure has looked shaky at the beginning of this season. I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet. I think we still need a lot of time to figure out kind of what this rotation shakes out to look like. When the dust settles, what does this rotation look like? On top of that too, they've only made one start each, right? Corey Kluber could have been nerves, could have been weather. Chris Sale, probably something similar, right? Tanner Houck actually looks pretty good. And Cutter Crawford, we kind of are in between as to whether or not he's even a starter anymore. We'll see what Pivetta looks like tonight together. But at the end of the day, right, they've only made one start each. I'm not panicking yet. I'm not raising the red flags. If this continues and we get to a month and a half into the year and it still kind of looks like this, then we can start diving deeper into some problems with this Red Sox rotation. But for me, what Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello are doing to this Red Sox rotation is simply bolstering it, right? Injecting two young arms who have really high upside into this rotation should be absolutely fantastic for it. But it's not just the starting rotation help that I think this Red Sox team desperately needs. It's also going to be in the bullpen as well. Because if you think about it, right, the Boston Red Sox so far have only had one starter make it through the 5th inning, and that was Tanner Houck on Sunday. Aside from that, this bullpen has been called upon to finish games starting in the 5th inning on, and we kind of expected this to happen going into 2023. Chris Sale was coming off injury, right, so he probably wasn't going to go past the 5th inning anyways. Corey Kluber's a little bit older, and he was successful in Tampa Bay because he did not go super deep into games. Tanner Houck has always struggled with that third time through the lineup, and again, Cutter Crawford, we aren't really sure if he's a starter or not yet. It probably wasn't realistic to assume that he was going to go super deep into games as well. So we kind of knew that this Red Sox bullpen was going to be relied on early in games, but the 5th inning on is a lot of work for the bullpen early here, and it's only going to be the same as they go forward. What Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello do to the Red Sox bullpen is they push two more longer relief guys into that bullpen, right? Most likely it's going to be Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford, but it could also be Cutter Crawford and Nick Pivetta, so we could see Nick Pivetta in the bullpen as well. Either way, those are two guys who can be long relief options for this Red Sox team, something that we don't really have right now, right? You've got Josh Winkowski, but he can't go every single day. Adding in Cutter Crawford, adding in Tanner Houck is going to be huge for this Red Sox team in terms of how they get from the 5th to the 8th and 9th inning, where you can get into your more specialized players like John Schreiber, Chris Martin, Kenley Jansen. And in my opinion, the most important innings for the Red Sox in 2023 are going to be that 5th and 6th inning, because even when Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello do come back, they're also going to be on inning limits as well. You're probably not going to see those guys go past the 5th inning either. So it's sort of addition by subtraction by addition in this scenario, where you're getting Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello into the rotation. You're getting that high upside with those two guys. You're also getting Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford, or Cutter Crawford and Nick Pivetta in the bullpen earlier than you expected, which is fantastic. And you're probably subtracting some guys that maybe aren't being super effective in the bullpen right now. I would assume Josh Winkowski is safe, but guys like Zach Kelly could be a guy who gets optioned. Caleb Ort's a guy who can get DFA'd. Ryan Brazier's a guy who can get DFA'd, even though both of them looked good last night. You're going to have to make room in the bullpen somewhere. And so in my opinion, it's all sort of good news. You're increasing the depth in the rotation. You're increasing the depth in the bullpen. You're getting guys who go through the 5th, 6th, and 7th without any real problem in Tanner Houck and Cutter Crawford. And all in all, by the end of the month, this Red Sox rotation should look completely different. And that's honestly the biggest reason why I'm not sounding any alarms yet, because we don't really know what this true rotation is going to look like. Once the dust settles and we get a couple of starts from Kluber and Sale, we get Bello and Whitlock back in there, then we can start discussing what this pitching rotation's upside can look like. But until then, we just kind of have to hope and pray that the Red Sox back end of this rotation and the Red Sox bullpen can hold it together until these two guys get back. And again, that can't come soon enough. At the end of the day, I'm just happy these guys are on the road back and will be in Boston by the end of the month. Let me know your thoughts down below on what Garrett Whitlock and Brayan Bello bring to this rotation, what they bring to this bullpen. Are you excited for them to come back? Are you not excited for them to come back? What are your thoughts down below on the current state of this pitching staff, and are you completely panicked yet? Let me know all your thoughts on this Red Sox pitching staff down below. Don't forget that we are going to be live tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time to watch the game together. If you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also hit the like button. It helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tonight for the watch party and in the red seats.